Back on the Morning Brew, and we're with the brand new director of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. There's the long acronym. What is it all, the whole
Well,
thing?
you know, in your effort to get the name out, you bring up a really important point.
International?
It's the Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum. We're actually completely separate from Fiesta. There's no Fiesta in it, although we have pieces of Fiesta history in our exhibition. We're really not a museum about the Fiesta. We're a museum about ballooning.
And that really is a big distinction between, it's like there's museums about cars that aren't necessarily connected to, say, the Indy 500.
Correct.
Right.
That's right.
So how did you come here to do this? Because you're not from Albuquerque.
I'm not from. I've been coming to New Mexico since I was a kid, actually. I've had family living here for decades. So long story short, you know, I was born and raised in Southern California and got my start in the museum field in that area. Eventually went to the Washington, D.C. area for about 16 years, ostensibly to get my graduate degree, but fell back into my museum profession. And at this point, about 5 years ago, I pretty much made the decision to move back here, or to move here, because this is where my family is, and had been away from them for many years. And my parents are in their older years, needing help, and I felt I could do a bigger part with that. So that's how I ended up here.
And then how did you end up applying or even finding out about the museum job opening at the Anderson Abruzzo? Sure.
So, you know, I keep my eye out for museum opportunities all the time. I've worked the last 11 years for the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum in D.C., the first 6 of which were while I was living there, and the last 5 here remotely as a contractor working on HR projects and things for them. And so just in keeping an eye out and knowing just how iconic ballooning is to Albuquerque and to New Mexico, when I saw the opportunity open up, I thought, you know, I can't pass this up. So I was really excited and interested. Yeah.
Well, I heard an interesting thing about you, though. You've never been in a balloon. Julian, you've been in one?
I have.
Right, locals, we know. Like, are you going to do that this year? Are you going to finally get a chance? As the director of the Ballooning Museum, is that like required that you be in a balloon?
You know, I think officially not, but I just think the peer pressure is so great.
I'm sure we're not the first ones to.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get into a balloon sometime this year, fairly soon. I just have an awkward fear of heights in some situations. But every pilot that I've talked to has told me it's different in a balloon. There's some pilots that have fears of heights or a fear of heights, and they don't in a balloon because it's a very different experience. How was your experience?
Great.
Great.
It is very sketchy. You know, if you're in an airplane, at least you're encased in a plane. But balloons it's completely. I can understand it's a little scary.
Yeah.
Well, you get over it after just a couple of minutes. You understand that you're just there, and the wind is carrying you, and the silence of it is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
The silence is it's the mind-blowing part of being in a balloon. You know,
Honestly, I feel like once I do have the chance, it's going to spur me to, you know, go full bore into it and get my pilot's license.
You can get a whole new hobby that costs you $1 million.
Try to buy a balloon and do that on weekends or something like that.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people in New Mexico that happens to them. You know.
Yeah.
When I'm sure though with the museum now, you have good connections in the field, right?
Well, not only great connections, but these are real supporters of what we do at the museum.
Right.
And it's really, we're on an auspicious time right now. We're in our 10th year. We're about to celebrate our 10-year anniversary starting
already
on October 1st.
I still think of it as the new building there right off to the side of the field.
Well, it's still pretty young, but we've had, you know, I was surprised to learn we've had nearly 750,000 people come through there in the last 10 years. Record year this last year, nearly 120,000. It's because I think people are starting to understand we're about ballooning as a whole. We're open year-round, every day except Mondays, and we have a lot of great programs going on too. But the people in ballooning here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and even the wider community, very supportive, obviously, of what we're trying to do there, and we could not do it without them.
Very cool. So what are some of the newer exhibits that are going up there? I know it seems like every year, especially for Fiesta, you bring in something very different and very cool.
Well, now Fiesta, we're really centering on celebrating our 10th, but beyond that, we have 3 really big things coming in this year. If people haven't visited, we're a good place to go. at any point. But over the course of this year, there will be a number of reasons for them to come back. The first thing is, and in fact, just this week we started the construction process for a 4D theater that's going in, and that will open. We're hoping by Fiesta, so that it will be a part of that, but it'll be pretty soon around that.
Just for people who don't really realize what a 4D theater is, I mean, we've seen 2D movies and 3D movies with the glasses, and what's 4D?
So 4D means you have a physical experience along with it, shaking, or for example, if there's film footage, the 3D film footage of a splash and dash,
you get water thrown on you.
You might get a spritz of water on your face or something along those lines. So it's a real, kind of authentic, well, as authentic as you can get in a theater experience. And so that's happening. That'll be opening soon. We have a meteorology project that we're working on. Very different kind of exhibition that's going to be opening. In fact, exhibition really doesn't do justice. It's going to be an immersive, interactive meteorological experience where people enter an area and learn about
weather.
Does it
snow on you and rain on you?
I'll bring that up. Not quite that, but it's you walk into parts of the exhibition. For example, the sun is the center of everything in terms of generating weather, and you actually walk inside the sun and interact with the information in there. You walk into a cloud pod, or that's what we're calling it right now, and interact with different kinds of things there. So that'll be happening. And then in February, we have just an extraordinary special exhibition opening. It's about a late 19th century balloon expedition attempt to reach the North Pole.
By balloon?
Yes, and
That's
was groundbreaking and fascinating. I can't or don't want to give away much of the story, but it's really a heroic story, and one with some very surprising, unprecedented things that were being done, not just in terms of the expedition itself, but also the science that they were hoping to conduct during this thing.
Cool.
And so that's all coming, and we're very excited about all of that.
Excellent. Well, I've always wondered, are balloon people more or less enthusiastic about their exhibits than, say, people in history museums?
Oh, I think
is there like because people get really super excited.
Yeah.
I've
worked in a variety of museums over the years, and everybody who has their specialized interest or niche, they're as excited about their stuff as we see here with the balloonists.
I love it.
I think the neat thing for us here in Albuquerque is that ballooning is so iconic, and that just makes it all the more special.
Right. When you do a food truck museum.
We've actually done quite a bit of events at the Balloon Museum there.
Right.
Yeah, it's great. Food trucks there as well.
We're going to check in with our friends outside here. Mama Bees is still out there. It looks like they're making some more. Oh, they're already getting these are deep fried hot dogs, right?
Yes, deep-fried hot dogs from my Sonora.
Bacon wrapped hot dogs. Oh my gosh.
Now we're going to be finishing up the huevos rancheros.
Red chili. Oh. All right, I got to go out there and sneak away here and get some of that. We're back in a few minutes on the Morning Brew with Friends.